Hello, influencers. Hello. So,
Tonight.
We have our special guest. You guys got to come on in. And guess who it is, you guys? Who is it, you guys? Who are you? Jay and who? Jay and Jay. These are our co-hosts that you seen last Wednesday. And they are back with us tonight. Jay and Jay. Who's Jay and Jay?
I'm Jyron, and this is my sister,
Kayla.
So,
Tonight.
We are discussing, what is our topic tonight, Jyron?
Purpose
for
the
promise. We are discussing purpose for the promise. Hello. Come on in, influencers. I got to figure this thing out so that we are all on here. I don't know if you can all see us. We are all here. So tonight, we are talking on the topic, purpose for the promise. And, I always start off with our definitions. Can you all see Jay and Jay? They are in the building tonight. Woo. My co-hosts are here again, you guys. So I see we have some viewers. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the Wow Inspire movement. We are going to get on with the show. So, tonight, we are talking about the topic, purpose for the promise. Jay and Jay is still around. Y'all wave your hand in the camera. Wave your hands. Jay and Jay is here, my co-host. Y'all see them? Woo! Well, hello, Kia. Thank you for tuning in. We are talking tonight on purpose for the promise. So, I always start off with our definitions. So, we're going to start with the definition of purpose. To be, or for something to have purpose, by way of definition, there's two definitions that I like to read, the noun and the verb. The noun definition of purpose is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. And the verb definition is have as one's intention or object. So again, purpose is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. And it's described, or it's defined as a verb as to have as one's intention or objective. So, Jyron, could you tell us, what does it mean, or what comes to mind when you hear the term purpose?
Like when you mess up and you do it on purpose, but it's not always in a bad way. You can do good things on purpose too.
So like when you mess up on purpose, when you say on purpose, meaning do you give thought to it, or you just kind of do it?
You just do it.
Oh, okay. So that's what you mean when you say purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the definition of promise by its noun is a declaration or assurance that one will do a particular thing, or that a particular thing will happen. The verb definition of promise is to assure someone that one will definitely do or give and arrange something to happen. So, when it says promise, Jakayla, you all see Jakayla. Jakayla, could you tell me, when I say I promise you something, what comes to mind?
Promise means when something says, or somebody is trying to give something to you, and they tell you you could they give it to you the next day. They promise.
So if they promise to give you something, does that mean they're going to give it to you the next day? Or you expect that they're going to give it to you the next day?
They're going to give it to you the next day.
Because you're expecting it because they promised it, right? Right?
Yes.
So, You heard it first from the co-host, J&J. Jared says, when you do something on purpose, you do it intentionally. You don't give thought to it. And Jakayla has told us, when someone makes a promise to you, you are expecting that person to come through with that promise. So tonight, purpose for the promise. So I went live, or I did a video clip earlier today that you were purposed for the problems. And the reason why you were purposed for the problems is because with your promise, there comes some problems, right, y'all? Like if I promise you something, before you get it, you're going to experience some things that make you feel like, God, this is problematic, all to get what I want. Right, guys? They can't hear you.
Yes.
So what would you say? Do you believe that if I promise you something, that before you get what I promise you, you're going to go through some stuff, some things are going to happen that's going to make you feel like, dang, the promise is all, like my mom promised me this and I'm going to get it, but if I mess up, I'm not going to get it?
Yes.
What you say, Jakayla? If I promise you something and a problem happens, are you thinking like, if I mess up, I'm not going to get what my mom promised me? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, because you don't want to mess up and the promise is right there, right? Like if I promise to take you to the movies, but if you have a bad day in school, am I going to be able to take you to the movies? Are you going to feel some type of way about that? You going to be upset if I don't take you to the movie because I promised you I was? Yes? So, you hear it here from our co-host J&J. So, yes, you were purpose for the promise. Purpose, by way of definition, is the reason for which something is done, created, or for which something exists. The reason for which something is done, created, or something exists. So you were purpose, there's a reason for which you were, something is done, created, or something exists. There's a reason why you exist. There is purpose for you that involves a promise. And that promise is a declaration or assurance that one will do a particular thing or that a particular thing will happen. So tonight, so what?
So tonight.
I just love when she says it, tonight. So yes, I am actually trying to get the co-host in the habit of doing the live broadcast because as they announced last Wednesday, we are super, super excited because Wow Inspired Kids Edition will be launching in June. And they won't be co-hosts anymore. They will be the hosts of that show. So where I'm like, hello, influencers. They'll have their own little saying. They'll run their own show. It definitely won't be as long as this show here, but they will be doing it. So tonight, right? I just love it. So tonight. Purpose for the promise. What do you mean, Shay, when you say purpose for the promise? So as you all know, I like to use scripture reference when I am speaking on these lives. So tonight, scripture reference comes from the book of Joshua. And just a quick background about Joshua. Joshua was Moses' assistant. Many people know the story of Moses where God had a message that he wanted Moses to deliver to a nation. And he had given Moses specific instructions. And Moses felt like, God, I cannot do this because first of all, I have a speech problem. Second of all, these people are not going to receive me. So Moses asked God, God asked Moses, he said, who are you? And God referred to him as, you are who I say you are. Like you are, I am that I am. That's what God referred to Moses, replied to Moses, that Moses was who he was according to what God had called him to be. Anyway, so Joshua was Moses' assistant, right? And in the book of Joshua, Joshua writes the book of Joshua. He writes his own book to bear his name, but not only to bear his name, but to bear the name of God. So here in the first book of Joshua, it says, this is the Message version, after the death of Moses, the servant of God, God spoke to Joshua, Moses' assistant. That's how I know Joshua was Moses' assistant. It's in the Bible. Moses, my servant, is dead. Get going. God is telling Joshua, listen, Moses is dead. It's time for you to get going. He said, get going. Cross the river, cross this Jordan River. You and all the people cross to the country I'm giving the people of Israel. I'm giving you every square inch of the land you set your foot on, just as I promised Moses. So I'm just going to stop right there, right? Then it goes down some more and it says, God is telling Joshua, it's all yours. All yours. All your life, no one will be able to hold out against you. In the same way I was with Moses, I'll be with you. God is telling Joshua that everything that I have given Moses, everything that I promised Moses, even though Moses is now, he's deceased, he's not here, he's not able to see out the full promise, I'm going to give it to you, Joshua, because you are next in line. You were Moses' assistant. So because I placed you and put you in alignments, I'm going to let you have all of the promises that I had promised unto Moses. So then he goes here and he says to him, the same way I was with Moses, I'm going to be with you, Joshua. So I say this to say, I'm starting this. I'm teaching J&J. I'm teaching J&J all about consistency, right? And in consistency, Jaron, what are you going to do? What was last week's topic? You're going to do what?
You're going to stay consistent into what you started.
And what was your topic?
Do it again.
And when I'm gone, what are you going to do?
Do it again.
And then you're going to do what?
Do it again.
If you fall, what you going to do?
Get up.
And what you going to
do? Do it again.
Jakayla, what's going to happen when Jaron stops and he slacks off? What you going to do?
Do it again.
And if you get frustrated, what you going to do? You going to stop?
No.
What you going to do?
Do it again.
Okay, so here we have, listen, Joshua's here. Joshua is now, in the absence of Moses, Joshua is doing just what these babies encouraged you all last week. Joshua is doing it again. So God says to Joshua, he says, I'm going to be with you like I was with Moses. I say to J&J, in my absence, I'm still going to be with you. God is going to be with you the same way God was with me. God was with me, your mom. The same God that was with me is going to be with J&J, right? God is saying to Joshua, I'll be with you. He said, I won't give up on you. I won't leave you. Then he speaks to him and he says, strength, courage. You are going to lead. You're going to lead this people to inherit the land that I promised to give to their ancestors. Give it everything you have, heart and soul. So tonight, listen, you were purposed for the promise. In your absence, listen, I don't care what comes and what goes. There is some promises that God has made you. In your absence, someone is going to reap, and God is going to be sure and make sure that someone receives and foresees his promises come to pass. So I want to tell you tonight, you were purposed for the promise. So there's a couple of steps in identifying that, your purpose for the promise. First of all, like I said on a few lives ago, God was dealing with me about the purpose process. There is a process to identifying your purpose. However, tonight we're talking about you were purposed for the promise. So in order to identify with your promise, you first have to identify that you and your life have a purpose. Now listen, the noun to the definition of purpose is the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. Like you were purposed. You were the reason why something was done, something was created, or something has existence. But the verb to purpose is having as one's intention or an objective. Having as one's intention or objective. So understand this. you have to identify what your intention is, what your objective is, right? In order, so you're purposed, meaning that there's a reason why you were created, you exist. But in order to identify that reason, you have to understand what your intentions are. You have to understand what your objective is, right? But again, there is a process to purpose. This live isn't about the process, but this live is to encourage you that you were purposed for the promise. Now, promise. Once you identify that you and your life have purpose, you then come to the knowledge that, and when you come to the knowledge of what your objective is, what your intentions are, then and only then you will be given divine instructions in order to get to the promise, in order to foresee the promise. So it's just like I was talking to J and J, and I asked them, like, when I promise you something, if I make you a promise before you get what I promise you, it seems like everything kind of like goes crazy, right, Jaron? Like, can you talk about some of the stuff that goes crazy? If I say, okay, Friday, we're going to go bowling, but today is Monday. What happens between Monday and Friday from day to day? You go to school, what happens? Tell me some of the things that happens that becomes, that can be problematic. What kind of problems can you face?
You could run into a lot of problems. You could run into grades dropping, grades going down, grades coming up, anything. You can basically run into anything from that amount of time.
From Monday through Friday. Mm-hmm. So what else about, Monday through Friday? I mean, what about any chores? Excuse me, anything like that?
Yeah, you could be running down on your chores, and you could miss a day on your chores and stuff. And
so let me ask you a question. When you miss a day on your chores, Friday, Friday is the day that you were looking to receive the promise. The promise was, oh, we're going to go bowling. If you miss your chores, will your promise be delayed, or is it possible that your promise is revoked? If you miss your chores, is it possible your promise is revoked?
It's possible that you don't have that promise anymore.
That's good. So basically, getting down to the nitty gritty of it is just like, Jaron said, if I promise him something throughout the time of him waiting for the promise to be revealed, for the promise to actually happen. Okay, today's Sunday. Listen, we're going to have a good week. Friday, we're going to have family night. We're going bowling. We're going to the movies, right, Jakayla? We're just going to have a good time. Could you imagine Friday coming, and on Friday, I said, oh, well, we're not going to the movies today. How would you feel? You feel bad, huh? Because you worked hard. But we're all in the household together. So if Jaron mess up, does that mess up your promise? Yes. Does that delay your promise? But what would you say to Jaron? Like you said Wednesday. What was Wednesday's topic? He's got to do what?
Do it again.
He's got to do what?
Do it again.
And then he got to do what?
Do it again.
So he's got to do it again until he get it right, right, Jakayla?
Yeah.
Because if he don't get it right, then he messes up your promise. So we in this thing together. Wow. I'm telling you, my co-host is dropping gems. Like, I didn't even think about it like that. Like, when I think about the depth of it, from what Jakayla just gave us some additional insight, when we are all a part of the purpose, I promise can be altered. It can be delayed if someone is not doing what they're supposed to do.
It's kind of like blessings. You probably think that you're gonna get a blessing on some day, and then when you do something wrong and you mess up and you don't get that blessing that day that you were promised, that blessing.
But the blessing is not that you're not going to get it. You just don't get it on that day. Wow.
So you're going to need again and stay consistent.
Whoa, you heard it first. Man, I'm telling you, my co-hosts are lit. They are lit. That is amazing. So he just said it's just like a blessing. You are looking or anticipating a blessing, and then something happens where you don't, do what you're supposed to do, and you expect a blessing on that certain day, but your blessing is prolonged. So it's just like the process. You got to start the process all over again because you missed something. You missed something. And can you imagine having to turn the whole ship around because one person on the ship missed something? But remember, you were purposed for the promise. The promise is the end result of a thing. It says a declaration or assurance that one will do a particular thing or a particular thing will happen. So it's the end of a thing. So Jaron just said, okay, so it's just like a blessing. You're expecting a blessing, but you don't do what you're supposed to do. What happens, Jaron?
You have to redo it and do it again.
So he said, you got to start all over. You got to do it again. They came in last Wednesday and said, do it again, right, Jaquela? Do it again. If Jaron messed up and we can't go to the movies and bowling Friday, you going to tell him what?
Do it again.
And he got to do what?
Do it again.
And he got to keep doing it?
Yep.
Until what?
Until he get it right.
So this is just, this is amazing. Thank you, Shamika. This is awesome. Listen, my co-host is lit. I'm trying to tell you. Wow, Inspired Kids, I'm excited for June. Like, just thinking about last Wednesday, they said their topic was do it again, and they talked about consistency. Tonight, we're talking about your purpose for the promise, right? Mm-hmm. And Jaquela said if Jaron messes up, and I promised them that we're going to have family night Friday, and he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, are we going to have family night? Are we going to be able to go?
No.
And Jaron's going to have to do what?
Do it again.
And he's going to have to do what?
Do it again.
Until what?
Until he get it right.
My God. So Jaron said, your blessings are withheld. They're set back, or they are, held up?
They are held until you do it again. No, until you get it right the first time. Well, the first time you get the chance, and then if you don't do it right if you don't do it right the first time, do you have to do it again to see if you can get it right the second time?
But because our purpose for the promise is not that the promise is not going to happen, it's just going to be delayed.
It's just going to be delayed until you do it again and you
get it right. Man, this is amazing. So you heard it. And I mean, we're talking about Joshua. So even in Moses' absence, when Moses died, who got Moses' promise, Jaquela? Joshua? Joshua got his promise. And what did God tell Joshua? Did God say he was going to leave him?
No.
What did he say? He was going to do what?
He was going to stay with him.
Like who?
Like Moses.
Man, listen. God told Joshua in the first chapter, listen, Moses is dead, but I'm going to give you the promise that I told Moses that he was going to get. So God don't go back on he is not slack concerning his promise. And in Joshua 21 and 45, Jaron, can you read what this says to them? Right here?
Not one word fell from all of the good words God spoke to the house of Israel. Everything came out right.
What did it say?
Not
louder. They need to hear you.
Not one word failed from all the good words God spoke into the house of Israel. Everything came out right.
So, what does that mean, Jaron? If God promised you something, what is it going to do?
He's going to do it.
And what is it going to do?
He's going to do it.
No matter how many times you got to do what?
How many times you got to do it again and be consistent into what you need to do.
Because guess what? If God made you a promise, what does it say? Not one word failed, right?
Yep.
Everything what?
Everything came out right.
Everything did what?
Everything came out right.
Everything came out right. Jacayla, did everything come out right?
Yes.
So we had to wait to go bowling. But did we go bowling?
Yes.
Why? Because everything did what?
Everything came out right.
Oh my goodness. This is good. This is good, man. This is so good. Listen, you heard it first. You were purpose for the promise. J&J helped me to see this thing from another perspective. That's what co-hosts are all about. They are there, and this is what Wow Inspired is all about. Wow Inspired is all about looking at things from a different perspective. Why? Because we all think differently. That's what makes us so unique. You are purpose for a promise, for the promise. You were purpose for the promise. And because you were purpose for the promise, because you were purpose for such, you're going to go through some, guess what they call them? Promise problems. Those promise problems does not mean that you still are not purpose. You are purpose. There is a reason for which you were created. There is a reason why you exist. And guess what? In order to understand why you were created, you must first identify that your life and you and your life have purpose. What is purpose? The ability to identify what your intentions are, what your objective is. Why do you live? What is your reason for living? What is it that you are purposed to do? Because guess what? There is a promise that follows your purpose. Is that right, J&J?
Yes.
So we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything by accident, Jaron, because you said when you do something on purpose, you're not giving thought about it, right?
Yeah.
So even this live tonight, we doing this on purpose, right?
Yeah.
We ain't thinking about it. We thinking about it?
No.
Because guess what? What happened here? When God gave you an instruction, his promise,
Everything came out right.
everything what?
Everything came out
Everything came out right. That's what it says in Joshua 21:45. It says what?
Everything.
No, Jaron, it says some things.
It says God spoke to the house of Israel, and everything came out right.
No, it says some things. It said everything,
Yeah.
right? No, it says maybe.
No, it says everything.
No, some.
Everything.
A few.
Everything.
Everything. Everything. So everything is everything, right?
Yep.
That's good, Jaron. That's good. So, of course, as I said, we don't want to belabor the time. Listen, you were purpose for the promise. I don't care what it looks like. Understand that when you identify, as you have heard earlier, the definition of purpose by way of a noun is the reason for which you were created, the reason why you exist. But in order to understand why you exist, why you were created, you first have to identify what are your true intentions, what your objective is. And when you are able to do that, then you understand that you were purposed. There's a reason why you exist. You can't identify why you were purposed if you don't understand your purpose. I lost you there. What I mean by that is, in order to be able to identify that you were purposed, purpose meaning with a D on the end, meaning to understand why you exist, what you were created for, you have to first understand your intentions, your objective. What you say, Jaron?
You have to understand your purpose.
And in order to understand your purpose is what your intentions are, right? What your objective is. What is your reason? What is your why? Why are you living? What is your existence? But the one thing we know is once we identify what our purpose is, we know that we were what? What is the nice topic? Purpose for what?
Purpose for the promise.
So once you know why you are existing, once you know what your intentions are, you can then identify that, yes, I am purpose for the promise. Hi, Ty. Thank you for tuning in. Listen, I am so honored. I'm so glad that you all have tuned in. Last week, I was down, but my babies, as you see, J and J are here with me tonight. J and J are here with me tonight. And we have talked to you tonight about what, Jaron? What was the first word?
Purpose.
And Jacayla, what was the other word? The what?
Promise.
So yes, we have talked to you about What you were purposed for the promise. So I encourage you all to go back and watch this live. Can either one of y'all tell me why Wow Inspire is this? Because we are doing what? Inspiring what?
Inspiring the influencer in you.
Inspiring what, Jakayla?
Inspiring the influencer out of you.
In you. We are inspiring the influencer in you. You were called to do more than what you're doing. Why? Because you were purposed for the promise. We love you all to life. Do you love them, y'all? Come on in. Do you love them? You love our viewers?
Yes.
Do y'all appreciate them
Yep.
for watching y'all?
Yes.
You want them to come back and tune into us again?
Yes.
Because why? They were what? Purpose for what?
Purpose for the promise.
So listen, we were purpose for the promise. And just like Joshua, Moses had a purpose. God gave him some promises. Joshua reaped Moses' promises. There were specific instructions given that Joshua had to follow. And what are you guys doing? Y'all are going to do what? Y'all going to get what from me? The what?
The promise.
And because I'm purpose for the promise, is y'all purpose for the promise?
Yes.
Yes.
You purpose for the promise, Sharon?
Yes.
So we thank you all for tuning in with yours truly, Shay Speaks. And who are you guys?
J&J.
So we are here again to inspire the influencer in you. You can catch all of our live broadcast replays on this page, the Wow Inspire Movement page, and or YouTube. What is the YouTube channel?
I am Shay Speaks.
And Jakayla, what is the YouTube channel?
I am Shay Speaks.
And what are we here to do today? Inspire what?
Inspire the influencer in you.
You heard it, y'all. We are here to inspire the influencer in you. We love you all to life. Share this live out because somebody else needs to hear that they were purposed for the promise. Share it with them. Tell a neighbor to tell a friend that even those problems that you face every day, opposition, any obstacles you deal with that comes your way is all a part of your purpose promise. Because you were purpose for the promise. Have an amazing night. We will see you Saturday morning. Next Wednesday. What's happening next Wednesday, y'all? What's happening? Mommy is doing what?
Mommy is
graduating. Woo! So next Wednesday, we will be live, but we will be live in motion. Because we will not be home, but we will not miss out on the live. Not less Ty. Not less Ty because her 2 weeks is up. It's almost just about up. Not less Ty is going to bring the live broadcast to you. But we are here to inspire the influencer in you. We love you all to life. Have an amazing night. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we will see you back here on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Come tune in to me and my co-host, who?
J&J.
Good night, followers. Good night, influencers.